Hello and welcome back. In today's lecture, we'll talk about the further principles of Fayol's managerial principles. The 10th principle is order. Fayol recommends that there has to be a place for everything and everything should be in its place. Imagine a factory with neatly stacked stock, neatly stacked items, a godown with everything is in order, everything is properly set in its place. That means when you want to go and search for an item and pick it up, you can go there directly and pick it up with the least amount of effort, with the least amount of time. Now, also imagine a warehouse with lots of clutter, extremely dirty, extremely messy. There is no proper organization. Materials are kept in its own place, no particular order to it. Now, how long will it take for you to fetch a material? Now you imagine which warehouse will give you tension, which warehouse will keep you peaceful. I'll show you an example of how a clean warehouse looks like. See, this is a beautiful, very well kept warehouse. This is a dream for auditors because when you go for stock taking, if the materials are stacked like this, if the stock is stacked like this, it makes physical stock taking very easy. You can complete everything in a much faster way. I have had very horrible experiences in my career as auditor, both in my articleship and both after qualifying. I have seen a lot of dirty warehouses, messy warehouses where things are not kept in order, and it has given me only headache. What should have taken 2 hours of or 3 hours of work usually will take 2.5 to 3 days because the stocks were not arranged properly. So order is one of the principles that Fayol mentions here. This is not just with respect to warehouse also. It is generally applicable for every other aspect of the company. Even to the extent of a car parking or a two-wheeler parking, there has to be an order to it. Okay, so that's the 10th principle. Let's go to 11th principle, equity. This is pretty similar to remuneration of employees, what we saw here, fair and equitable pay, isn't it? This equity aspect in management is about treating every employee equally, which means there should not be any discrimination based on gender, race, and religion. We might have already come across examples of racism, people being discriminated for their color, for their language, for their background. All those things we would have heard, right? Lots of books, lots of movies have come on this topic. So today it might appear very obvious to us that one should not discriminate based on gender or race or language. But imagine these principles were written in the early part of 19th century. So early 1900s, late 1800s, people were not so matured and people were being discriminated based on their color, religion and everything. So that's the reason why equity is one of the key principles of Fayol. That's the 11th principle. Let's talk about principle number 12, stability of personnel. Again, this is related to this principle of remuneration of employees. What is employee turnover? I have written reduce employee turnover. Employee turnover means that the employees join your company, at the same time they leave your company at a much faster rate. So imagine you filled the team with the 10 people at the beginning of the year, and then those 10 people left, and then a new set of 10 people came, those people left, and by the end of the year you are at the third set of 10 people. Now that means there is a huge amount of employee turnover. If employees keep resigning, you will have to keep recruiting new employees. Retaining an employee is a much cheaper option than letting an employee go and finding a new employee and replacing that employee. We will see this detail in staffing chapter. Recruiting an employee is not an easy job. You have to give announcements, you have to give advertisements, vacancy advertisements. You have to call the people for interviews. You have to interview them. Then you have to evaluate. 2-3 stages of interviews will be there. Then you have to do background checks. So recruiting an employee is not a cost-effective thing. Then how can you maintain the stability of personnel? Which means again you reward them properly, you treat them well, give them holidays, give them breaks, don't overload them. Maintain the team in an equal way so that there is not just one person who does all the work and all the other people are just kind of freeloading on this star performer. Make sure that everybody contributes so that the so-called star performer is also not so overloaded. So stability of personnel means treat your employees well so that they like coming back to work here. In Japan, especially in Toyota, they call this commitment culture, which means when a person finishes their education and joins Toyota at the age of say 20 to 23, they make sure that it's one of their life ambitions to work inside Toyota, to work in Toyota till the age of 60 or till whenever they retire. And it is also one of the goals of Toyota that if a person comes into our organization at the age of mid 20s, we will make sure that they stay committed to our company. We treat them well. So until the age of their retirement, let them work with our company. That's why Toyota is one of the most successful companies in this world, majorly because they have one of the least employee turnover ratios across companies. So the next point is initiative. Again, this is another employee management principle, which is workers should be given enough amount of incentive so that they naturally have that enthusiasm to take initiatives in the organization. Imagine a workplace where the worker just comes, does his work, stays there for 7-8 hours for namesake so that he gets wages, and then he goes back. So there is absolutely no life to it, there is no joy to his work. He will just mind his business. In this situation, you cannot get the maximum productivity out of a worker. What is the better way to do is you give him some award, you give him some remuneration beyond his salary. There are companies that give cash award for suggestions given by the employees. What is cash award? So employees will be working on the factory, on the floor. They will be operating a machine. Suddenly an employee will come up with an idea that if we operate this machine in this particular way, we can either consume less electricity, or it will damage the machine in a much lesser way, or we can increase the output by say 25%. Anything is possible, but just that it came from the creativity of that employee, because he's already working with the machine for a very long time. Ideas come just like that, isn't it? You work on a particular thing for a quite long time, and suddenly you will come up with a new idea, an innovative idea, something will strike you, and then you will feel like, how come I did not think about it? Now let's say one of the employees, one of the workers came up with such an idea, and he raises it up to the middle management, to the factory supervisor. Now what happens? The two outcomes are there, isn't it? Let's say the factory supervisor was really happy about this idea and he welcomes it. He announces it even to the top management, and top management has put that on the notice board and gives a congratulatory note to that worker, and also let's say rewards him with 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 rupees. Now imagine the amount of satisfaction or morale boost that this employee gets. He will naturally come brighter to the office from the next day. He will come much earlier to the factory, and he will start to seek, okay, I got a good deed last time, I got rewarded very well. Now what are all the things more like this I can do? So he will start to seek more and more solutions. So let's say because of this one employee's suggestion, it is applied to everywhere else in the factory. Now imagine the whole production cost going down by say $2 million or $3 million, or let's say your output even doubled in a matter of 2 months. The consequences are endless, isn't it? The possibilities are endless. Or let's say to the contrary, an employee came up with such a suggestion, he raised it to the factory supervisor. Factory supervisor ridiculed and dismissed his suggestion, and it will obviously kill the spirit of that employee, isn't it? So he will not even raise his voice, he will not even think about coming up with suggestions anymore. So then the innovation will naturally die down in that organization. So that is again the topic of initiative. And last point is esprit de corps. So this esprit de corps, I don't know which language is some European language, might be Latin or I don't know, I'm not sure. It roughly translates to team spirit in English. So again, companies or organizations should invest on building team spirits. You might have already seen, let's say if your elder brother or sister or your father, mother, if they are working in corporate, they must have already attended in a lot of team building events. So they will book a resort, or they will go on a vacation, or they will go to some seminars, or they will go to some competition. There are lots of ways one can build a team. Employees will gather for a weekend that they will stay together, they'll cook and eat together. So they will do a lot of fun activities. They'll go on a trekking trip, hiking trip. So these type of things beyond work will build the team spirit. So by the time they are done with this team building activity, they would have had all positive emotion, good emotion. one would be able to understand the other employee in an even much better way. And when they come back to the factory, come back to the office, they will start to work in a much more synchronized manner with each other. You can expect a much better coordination between them. So that is this philosophy behind building team spirit. So we are done with Fayol's management principles. The last segment of this topic is comparing Taylor's scientific principles versus Fayol's management principles. Some 2-3 points I would like to mention here. If you see, Taylor completely focused on productivity. Everything about him was about science and measuring everything to the last second and figuring out one best way to do any particular job. He was totally focused on productivity, cost reduction. He also believed in harmony between the workers and the management. He also said that management should take care of the workers and workers should give their best back to the management. But if you see, Taylor's thoughts and Taylor's innovations and productions largely revolved around the factory level, which is the operational level, operational aspect of the management. But if you see Fayol, he was about the top management. All his communications were his advices to the top management, stating how top management should treat the employees. Okay, make sure you give good remuneration, make sure you build the team spirit, make sure you keep the employees taking initiative. So it's all about ordering the top management to take care of the operational management. So that's a broad classification that you want to see between Taylor and Fayol first. And the next thing is, Taylor was a scientist by profession. He was more of a science guy. He will do a lot of trial and error. Fayol is like a theorist. He doesn't practice anything, but he's a theorist. Okay, he says that I have come up with 14 management principles. Everything is in theory, but again, the application of it will depend upon situation to situation. So that's this entire second chapter. I hope you understood the lectures. From our next video, we will talk about third chapter, which is business environment. Please leave in the comment section below how do you like this channel, how are the videos, and if you want to give me some feedback on things that I should improve, let me know in the comment section. I will definitely read them. Thank you and bye-bye.